Hello and welcome, my friends. It's Jennifer from Mystic Star. I want to thank you guys for joining me today and welcome you to my early weekly reading. Of course, I want to thank all my Canadian friends and wish them a happy Canada Day. Monday is going to be fantastic for you guys. This weekend really kicks off next week on that high note. We have that celebration, that fun, that play that we have the ability to tap into. Whether we actually partake in that play and fun, we have the ability to embrace it. No matter what country you're from or born in or wherever you live, you have that ability to call it in. It will really help to strengthen some of that kind of low vibration that people are feeling right now and get us out of our funk. I won't lie, last month with Mercury retrograde, and there seemed to be a bit of a tailspin this time, and a lot of technology issues, a lot of challenges with people needing some clarification. So I'm really excited about this high vibrational, playful energy. Now, I do have to mention and apologize if this should happen. I'm putting the apology out there to use Murphy's Law in my advantage here. It is, hotter than hot where I am, to the point that there's people warning us not to go outside, not to leave the pets outside. Should we step on tarmac, our shoes could melt. People are having fun cooking eggs on cars just because it's that frigging hot. So my internet has had problems. It's gone down at the most inopportune times. So I apologize in advance if that should happen. With the heat, it's like swelling and contracting cables and making things shift, and it's not good. So I do apologize, and I apologize to anybody who's going to get this heat dome. I know it's slowly moving across kind of central Canada, the northern part of the US. It sucks. It does. It does. And for my friends who have gone through it, because I know there's a number of you who've contacted me going, oh my God, we're almost through it. Yay! I know my friends in BC, Seattle, they're kind of seeing the tail end of it. Tomorrow, I think we're going to see the tail end of it here in Alberta. But wow, not fun. And for those who are going to have it, get ice, get cool, stay cool. This week, because we are looking at that celebratory fun energy of Canada Day and Independence Day, I had to go with it. One of my favorite combinations, the Everyday Witch Tarot and Oracle. The illustrator who drew both decks and other decks, she's a fantastic illustrator. She has such amazing energy. I love the playful fun in both decks. So I wanted to tap into that. I think it's going to have a good energy for the week to come. Which is crazy that we're into July already. And welcome to July, guys. We're on to July 1st. So let's get into next week. We are looking at July 4th through the 10th. What can my friends expect from that week? I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to be happy when it's not as hot outside. It hasn't been fun. Oh, such a beautiful card. Give in to passion. Such gorgeous illustration here. Like I said, this week, that energy of carefree fun and play, it exudes into next week. I said this last month when we were looking at some of the man-made holidays. It was around Father's Day, where I said that some of the man-made holidays, not the astrological events and such, can have a really amazing positive impact on us. And it doesn't matter whether or not you celebrate it or not. We feel it when, different religions are celebrating, different countries are celebrating different landmarks, different important dates. We can be really embraced and blanketed by this high vibration, this love, this joy. whatever that celebration entails. And because we have two relatively big land masses with larger populations, you're looking at just a cascade of boom, boom, boom. This is going to be joyous and fun. And both countries weren't able to embrace what we normally do for our Independence Days, because both Canada Day and, well, Independence Day are Independence Days. So we have this very kind of patriotic, yes, freedom, play and fun, family and friends. We didn't get that last year. Many of us were like, oh my God, what is COVID? What do I do? I'm stuck in my house. So we have a shift. And I know that there's still different places going back into lockdown. Some are still in lockdown. However, we've had about a year to create a very unique and different way of connecting in with friends and family, connecting in with our neighbors, connecting in with those important people. We know how to do it now. And so whether or not we go out and have a barbecue with our family, or we have a barbecue here and then they have a barbecue there and we just have barbecue together, we know we have that flexibility now. It's more of a norm. So we have a heightened sense of excitement and connection, along with this freedom and independence that both countries, well, they share, and yet they're still very different. So if you ask a Canadian what is Canadian, and you ask an American what is American, they're similar, right? We're very similar. We're neighbors and cousins, but we have differences. And it's that very unique, independent ideal that we can embrace. That freedom, along, of course, with that celebration. Look at what we've come through, especially in this last year, and look what we've done historically. So, fantastic opportunity this week to embrace that, and a fantastic opportunity to really give ourselves that added energy to stand up on our own 2 feet in that independent energy and take that step forward. Let's look at this week. What does the beginning part of the week bring, my friends? Of course, the beginning part of the week, you're looking at Independence Day, right? It's going to kick off the week. On a high note, Miss Independence, Miss Sass herself, the Queen of Wands. I love how she's like, piss me off, I dare you. I have a cat and a dragon. Every girl's dream, or at least every girl in this house anyway. We have that very individual and idealistic queen. She is full of fire and passion. She's the one queen in the original deck that was created in I'm sure it was started in 1908, 1909 by Pamela Coleman Smith and Arthur Waite. Pamela Coleman Smith drew them. And she was kind of the mother of the minor arcana. And this beautiful queen, she didn't draw in the standard queen position. Most queens cross their ankles and they're very dainty and sad and smile very stoically. Not the Queen of Wands. Her legs are, her knees are open like a man would sit, showing that she has dominance and priority over what she wants. We need that very individual, very fire passion to ignite and be sparked by these energies. We can do that by connecting into it, by engaging and celebrating with our Canadian and American friends and calling it in, just thinking about it, thinking about that energy, asking your guides, your guardians to bring it in, to help fan that flame. We need to do this our way. And this week is very clear that our passions, as we have, of course, given to passion, and we have the most passionate female energy there is in the deck. Nothing outweighs her. She is the everyday embodiment of passion and creativity. So this week is about that inner fire, that passion, that creativity that we have and hold within us. We hold it, of course, in our solar plexus, which is right by our tummy area, and our sacral, which is kind of in our hip area, by the hip bone. Those two chakras are really going to support us in engaging with this energy and using it. It's one thing to have it. We have to actually use it, guys. We can't just go, oh, that's great. Look at that. It's shiny, beautiful. If you don't do anything with it, doesn't matter if you have it or not. We need to actually put momentum, giving ourselves time to be creative in whatever aspect that looks like. We don't have a cookie cutter, oh, this is creativity. No, creativity is expression of you in a meaningful way. So just like there are millions of people, there are millions of ways of being creative. It's the one that hits home, that brings you joy and fulfillment. That's what you need to give yourself a little bit of time here and there in your everyday, and you're going to see that passion really unfold. You're going to see that transformation. Do you see all these beautiful butterflies? In tarot and oracle, butterflies always indicate change. Here, we're looking at a little shift that will create that change. If you try and jump into that change too quickly, what happens? We have a tendency to get fearful and we kind of recoil back. Our ego causes added fear of failure, added fear of things not going right. That fear causes us to regress. And then it's even harder to get to where we once were, let alone to move forward even further past that. Because when things are surrounded in fear, they're harder to get to. They're harder to appease and release because fear can be debilitating. We know that. If anybody has a fear of anything, like the only thing I can think of that's really legitimate is clowns. Clowns are terrifying. So if you have a fear, you understand that, right? Some people are afraid of heights, spiders. They're not my favorite. Clowns though. Not good. So fear can really slow us down. We want to take it slow and steady. A little bit here and there starts to really, it invigorates us. We feel good. It helps to connect the dots. We get those aha moments. Why? We're not focusing in on the gunk and the heaviness. We're focusing in on that passion, that creativity. We start to get rid of that worry and fear, and we start to see more in that frontal cortex. Why? We're slowing our heart rate because we're doing something fun. We're breathing because what happens when we're afraid or things are stressful, we start to hyperventilate. We have those shallow breaths. But when we're doing something that's relaxing and fun and you're enjoying it, even if it is stressful, and there's two types of stress. There's the stress that doesn't do well with us, and there's stress that really encourages us. What I'm thinking of is I have a client who her passion is rock climbing. And she rock climbs and inspires people because you're like hanging upside down like a monkey. And I'm like, ooh, yay for you. I love hearing about people's passions, but that is a different stress, right? It's a stress of being able to stay on the, rocks surface and not plummet to the ground. that would be me. I'm like, I am not graceful, thunk. It does help you to cohere though, because you're not focusing in on the challenge of the everyday demands. We're not getting ourselves caught in that rut. You're expanding your mind. Okay, so I want to go here or there, go here or there. And then you're like, oh, eureka. Just like if you were a passion who is baking. You're putting in the ingredients or decorating your cake and you're like, oh, yeah. because you're focusing in on a task that doesn't necessarily have to do with the problem at hand. You're doing something that's fun, that gets you out of your head, gets you out of your way, and you feel good while doing it. So you're starting to rejuvenate your body, your mind, and your soul in one failing swoop. Even if you give yourself 15, 20 minutes per day, which 15, 20 minutes, that's a shower maybe, right? It's an easy to put into. And then you can expand that. And I do have clients who are bakers, and they're like, you can't bake in 15, 20 minutes in the year. And I'm like, no, you're right, you can't. But you could, in one step, one day, whip together the cookies, or at least the cookie dough, or the bread dough, or whatever it is you're making. The next day you could cook it. The next day you could decorate it. So taking it in steps. You don't have to say, okay, for the next 3 hours, I'm going to do this, because that feels overwhelming. You don't feel like you can maintain that balance. You don't have that control. But if you say, okay, so for 15 minutes, I'm going to bake. Or if you're that rock climber, okay, today I'm going to take half an hour and I'm going to go to the wall climbing place, and I'm going to climb up, do a little bit, and then I'm good. Tomorrow, I might do it again, or I might have to stagger it because I don't have an extra 20 minutes or half an hour. When you bring it more and more into your day, you start to clear your head out more and more, and then also you start to feel better. You have that passion and that connection in to what it is you're trying to do. What we are naturally drawn to in our creativity and our passions, there's a reason for it. It's connected somehow to our soul's deeper purpose, especially when our passions will inspire and invigorate others, whether it be through what we create or, like my rock climbing friend, inspire us. Well, she can do that. Why can't I? We have that ability. So it's up to us. And this week is a fantastic week to start and use the momentum that we're already building. As of today, it's starting to build. We're going to see it really cascade. It's kind of like that big wave. We can use that to our advantage to help us to engage with our passions, help us to get motivated and get going. So, see what's going to bring us into the middle of the week. Where are we going? What can my friends expect from the middle of the week? You know, it's funny. I teach tarot all the time, and people are like, well, you can't do a good reading with 3 cards. I've been talking for almost 20 minutes now. This is my 3rd card I've drawn. I don't know about you guys. I could do a reading on 3 cards for hours. There's so much you can talk about. Okay. Okay, the 3rd card that came out, the Sun, the 19th card in the Major Arcana. Reconfirming the fact, what I said earlier, that this week is about that joy and that happiness. Really invigorating that passion, that connection, that zest for life. What jumped out at the end was the Emperor, which is the 4th card in the Major Arcana. Adding a bit of balance, because we have this very dominant feminine energy. We now have a very dominant male energy. Anytime you're looking at passion and creation, you need the masculine and the feminine, right? You need that feminine, nurturing, more, I don't want to say passive energy, but very caring energy with that very aggressive and very stable energy that comes with the masculine. You need the yin and the yang to get things done. Additionally, this warmth, this joy is going to help stabilize us to no end. Let's be honest. Like I said, May, it was hard, right? We had Mercury retrograde. We had Castors and Pollock all over the place. And then we also had all this other chaos coming in with the lunar eclipse, the solar eclipse. It was a lot. And then we're starting June off with a heat wave. This dome that's going across Northern America. It can be pretty roasty. Now, the sun is going to shift gears, though. Many of us are starting to see a reprieve in the actual physical heat, but the warmth we're going to get next week from this passion is going to help stabilize us from this kind of chaotic energy that we felt over the last couple of weeks, the last month or so. We need the warmth now. We need this creativity to help us grow, to help us move out of this kind of stale funkiness that's kind of come in, especially as many of us have entered into I know that here in Alberta, I think we're on the third wave that we just finished. It just seems like things are carrying on and going on, and it's getting long. This stability, this joy, this passion, it's going to go a long way in helping us getting going again. Really confirming what I was just saying. Helpful if I would have turned the card over for you. The Knight of Cups. We're going to get going now. We're going to get going in a way that is meaningful and fulfilling for us. And it's going to share that passion. Like I said, part of what we're going to be doing is not only really regenerating and inspiring us, we're going to inspire others along the way. Doesn't matter what's beneath us. We know and trust that high vibrational energy that can be shared with ourselves and with others. Now, of course, this is the night. So nights, well, they're that adolescent no fear energy. Talks about our willpower, talks about that inner strength to push ourselves forward. Also talks about that intuitive connection. Anytime you're dealing with that cup, you're dealing with intuition or emotion. So here we're really looking at that intuition, because your intuition starts to kick into gear, especially as we connect into our passions. Because like I said, you get out of your head and you're not trying so hard. Part of the problem we have with connecting in with our higher self and the high vibrational beings is that we try. It's rather, I guess it goes back to Yoda. You can try or you can do. Well, it's easy to do when we're not pushing ourselves so hard. So when we're not focusing and are hyper-focusing in on that intuitive episode or session, and you're not really trying to focus in, I'm going to use my clair, I'm going to use my third eye, and I'm going to see it, you can really kind of drive yourself to distraction. It can be kind of, less productive. So being creative, though, you're focused in on that creativity, that passion. When you focus in on that, that's when your third eye is like, pink, look at this, right? Your clairaudience picks up those messages. All of a sudden you're like, boom, there it is. You're like, oh, yeah, that's going to work. So we're going to be using our intuition more. We're going to be strengthening it through our creative endeavors. We start to trust it more because it is, as we're more creative and as we're more in our passion center, we're not so hyper-focused in on things. And it starts to open up and roll out in front of you. I really like the bubbles. I think that's why I really like this deck, is that it shows very well in symbology what it means to connect into this card, right? Things start to roll out and they're just there and you're like, oh, yeah, there it is. Look at that. Mm-hmm. So the middle of the week, we're going to connect into that joy and happiness. Even though Independence Day for Canada and the US, they're well over by then. And we're going to be able to have that time to naturally embrace the love and joy that's all around us. And I should say, in the middle of the week of next week, on Wednesday, I believe, it's on my Facebook page, I'm going to be doing a Healing 101 session where I'm going to be opening up a live session like this where we're going to talk about healing energetically. I'll talk about Reiki. I'll be talking about your chakras. We'll be talking about, and this is a common one, what's the difference between Reiki and someone who uses white light to heal? So I've got a lot of friends who are witches, and that's what they use. They're like, oh, I'm a white light healer. So talking about those and answering any questions you may have about energetic healing and how it is you can connect in. What are these chakras and what are they used for? Okay, so if you have questions, please feel free. Like always, you can join the session live and ask me in chat. If you're unable to attend and you watch my sessions later, perfectly fine. You can email me a question and I will do my best to answer it. I will only have, I'm only slotting about an hour for it. So if I run out of time, I will do my best to try and clump questions together so I'm answering multiple questions at the same time. But I'm getting a lot of people who are asking me more about what energetic healing is and how it's useful for them. So I'm kind of expanding my Tarot 101 sessions and encompassing more because life isn't just about the information. Sure, we need that map. We also need added tools to support us because information, just having information, won't support us in moving forward. You have to actually do. So, all right, let's go on to the end of the week. What can my friends expect from the end of the week? Oh, and I should say, like always, my sessions are always free on my channel. I don't charge for this. All right. The Two of Swords. The clarity that we're going to get through connecting in with that energy, feeling more stable. We're going to be able to make some decisions at the end of the week that are going to be really helpful in shifting us out of this gunky stalemate that we're finding ourselves in. A lot of us felt like we were starting to move forward a couple months ago, and then things started to get really heavy again. I'm unsure why, but I know that for sure it went from California up to at least Saskatchewan, Northwest Territories area. It just kind of banded over Northern America here. There was such a really funky energy that really bogged people down. And that kind of cascaded then into May, where we had that chaos of Mercury retrograde. We had Gemini coming in. We had eclipses everywhere. So there was a lot of stuff that gunked us up again. We feel really sluggish. We're going to have that shift and that clarity on how we can go forward again, helping to raise our vibration, helping to pick ourselves up and get ourselves moving again, because we don't want the tower in play. Of course, they're here. The devil. Your ego is not going to lie down and say, oh, this is good. Enjoying this week. Yeah. Let's go out and shift. Let's change. Let's get into our passions because that's always safe. No. Your ego is going to battle you on this. Your ego wants you to stay safe and stuck. When you're safe and stuck, you're not putting yourself out there. You're not growing or expanding. Once upon a time, that was useful for us. That growth and expansion could come at a cost because there were wildlife that would eat you. Coming from Canada, sure, you can get some wildlife that walk by. Bears, moose, they can be very dangerous. But we have that knowledge on how to deal with it. Once upon a time, we didn't. So our ego did function for something. The problem is our ego never evolved. Our ego kind of sits in our tummy, and then it functions from our rudimentary brain, which is at the base of our brain here. We need to function here, where our high vibrational brain is. Our frontal cortex helps us ask the questions, helps us be open to creative solutions, helps us to make high vibrational decisions for ourselves. So we need to stay in that high vibration and not get caught back here in that fear and that worry. That fear and worry are going to impact the passion, the joy, and the happiness. Now, your ego cannot dampen the sun and push it out. Sure, it could cause it to be a little bit overcast and you're not getting the fullness of that passion, of that joy. It's still there though. Even if you feel like you don't have the strength to combat your ego, the sun, it overpowers and overshadows your ego. Whereas the ego is the 15th card, the sun is the 19th card. It is stronger. It is brighter, and it's unconditional love. So even a little bit of a dousing of the sun will help burn away some of the tethers that your ego has. Now, if you are up for a challenge and you want to battle on your ego, because really we need to do that. Should get that as a shirt. Battle on your ego. Yeah, go. I have 2 meditations in my Just You and Me playlist where it's getting yourself unstuck. And it's literally degunking and getting ourselves moving again. Helping us to push past our ego and go back into that high vibration and step into ourselves. Now, if you're new to my channel and don't know about my meditations, I have 3 meditative playlists and a mindfulness playlist. All of these tools, well, 3 out of the 4 playlists are 30 minutes long, and then 1 is 10 minutes and under, where I guide you through a tool or a meditation that's going to support you in the here and now. All my meditations, all my tools are free. You can use and reuse them as you need. So those meditations will help you degunk and get yourself shifted so you can embrace more of that passion. Feel stronger in who it is you are because you're stepping in to your power. And if you really want to give it a good run for your money, you can add in a meditation that I've done with Archangel Uriel, where that's what you're doing. You're connecting into your passions and you're really stepping into that light. Yeah. The 5 of Swords. Really echoing how your ego is going to cause you some grief here at the end of the week, where you're going to have that inner chat get pretty negative. And the unfortunate part is when we're beating ourselves up inwardly, outwardly, people do the same. So if you show yourself as the Queen of Swords or the Queen of Wands here, where you are passionate, you are in large and in charge, how do people treat you? With respect and admiration. They're like, you go, yeah. If you are treating yourself badly, you're talking down to yourself, you feel like crap, how do people treat you? Same way. They will treat you how you're treating you. They reflect it back to you. So if you're ever questioning how it is you feel about yourself, and if you need to shift that up and kick it up a notch, give yourself some little bit extra love here and there, watch how people treat you. Look how that relationship you have with others, how that comes back at you. Because they will always mirror how you're feeling about you. So we're going to have a lot of low vibration negativity that we need to deal with. Now, knowing that in advance, knowing that the end of the week is going to be a bit of a challenge, well, we can prepare ourselves, really embracing the tools that will support us out of that challenge. Help you embrace that frontal cortex, rather than getting caught up in your either base brain, your rudimentary brain here, where it is reactive. Easiest ways to do that, of course, is through meditation. You're centering and grounding yourself. And then also through the use of crystals, releasing energies. Easy way of releasing energies is through water. Things start to feel really overwhelming. Usually you have the ability to excuse yourself to go to the bathroom for 5 minutes, run the water, run your hands underneath the water, and just feel that high vibrational, chaotic, it really feels jittery energy. You can just release it. I think that's why I brought out my short and sweet meditation playlist. It's the one playlist that's 10 minutes or under. So when people or situations are really reactive, so you can get back to that frontal cortex, you're using your head, not your reactive space, so that you can go 5 minutes, right? 5-10 minutes. You can take that break. You can partake in a 5 to 10 minute meditation, calm you, bring you back to that high vibration. Here, also stepping away helps to give space and let things kind of calm a bit before you go and, complete the conversation. You get that conclusion that you're looking for. So being proactive, it helps because you can start with some of these meditations even at the beginning of the week. Like the beginning of the week, you could start to partake in meditation with Archangel Uriel, where you're connecting into your passions. And then in the middle of the week, just even doing a meditation for relaxation and joy. And then at the end of the week, do ones for grounding, do ones for releasing. Fantastic opportunity to do the ones where what I talked about that getting unstuck. So you literally get unstuck. You don't get caught up in that cobweb. Additionally, if you're really feeling beat up, I've got 3 videos or sessions I've done with Archangel Shamuel, and it's all about self-love because it's the one thing we don't do well. We can love others, but loving ourselves can be a real challenge. And of course, none of it's narcissistic. This is really about rejuvenating you. All right, so we know the end of the week is going to be a challenge. Let's look at what the week's challenges, though. What challenge will my friends face for the week of July 4th through the 10th? Mentioned this already. The Tower. Resistance to change. Resistance to change is needed. This passion, this joy, this happiness, it's needed. Like I said, we felt stuck and sluggish. Anytime you have that feeling of stuckness, well, you're only going to give them so much time before the universe kicks you into gear. Right now, we have a lot of choices. Things are in play. We have the ability to connect into our passions. We have the ability to connect into the loving energies, that loving sun. We have the ability to focus in and maintain in that frontal cortex. If we choose, because we have the right of free will, if we choose not to, eventually it's not going to be so much of a resistance to the tower. The tower will be the problem at hand. It'll be up here in your week. We have the ability to, slowly make that change for ourselves rather than the universe kicking us in the butt, causing a lot of pain and heartache. So we're going to have resistance to this. Like I said, our ego is really going to be in play. We need to take that time. When we feel resistant to something, when we feel like, maybe later, but what if? That's when you need to start to check into it. Use your high vibrational skills, your critical thinking skills. They'll help you tease out what is logical and what is your ego. So that challenge is going to be that resistance. We usually have it, and that's okay. We need to make sure that that resistance doesn't control us. Rather, we are able to use our tools and skills to overcome those challenges. Let's look at what else is going to help you overcome these challenges. What can my friends embrace for the week of July 4th? I think I wanted more May the 4th to come back. July 4th to the 10th, so that they can embrace all that the week offers them. I've already used the Yoda example, so apparently May the 4th is important too. Who knows? Okay. We're just going to be really obvious here. Give love. Give love to others. Give love to self. That one's, of course, the hardest one, right? We like to give love to others. It's easy to love others. Sometimes it's really hard to love who we are, because when we look in the mirror, we see our challenge areas. We see things that we're not happy about, and we want to change. So that's what we focus in on, rather than those aspects and pieces that we really enjoy, those things that are going well. So make sure that we're sending that love to self. Like I said, I do have a number of meditations with Archangel Chamuel that would help. Hibernation and rejuvenation. Or regeneration, not rejuvenation. Regeneration. We need to take the time this week, especially in the middle of the week when the sun literally is not shining. Like right now, it is beating down on this house and I'm sweating so bad. We need to embrace that warmth and love of the universe and of the sun card. Taking that time. I think that's why these meditations are coming so quickly right now to me, because meditation is a time for regeneration and time for self. We're giving love to self, even if we're doing, say, getting unstuck meditation. Sure, we're focusing in on how to get ourselves unstuck, but the actual intentional perspective of, I'm going to give myself 30 minutes for me to start to release and heal like I need to. Huge, huge healing and rejuvenation there. And of course, that's self-love, because it's all about you. And it's not so much of like, oh, I'm not the center of the universe, narcissistic way of, it's about you. This is about you strengthening you so that you can step into that power. Step into who you truly should be. That's where we're trying to do right now. Individuals who are there, who are like, yeah, I'm in my power, this is what I need to do, baby. They have less questions and are the people who are the light workers, who are supporting others to help them step into their power. Oh, fantastic. Learn for life. Those life experiences, when you learn from life, those hands-on experiences, you get more out of it. And this is a learning experience. This whole, lifetime's an experience, but the last 2 years has been an experience that is off the charts because of the amount of information. No other pandemic, epidemic, or any situation has had this much coverage for this long, right? So remembering to learn from those firsthand experiences. Sure, they can be challenging situations like the pandemic, or, and this is important, guys, can be those passion-based experiences. Learning from indulging in 15 minutes a day, and maybe increasing it to 20 minutes a day. giving yourself those opportunities for that aha, right? We've got the Two of Swords here. Those aha moments, they're going to come fast and furious, especially when we're getting out of our head and getting out of our way. We're learning how to use our skills, our passions, and our abilities to our advantage. Oh, yeah. Connect into Gaia, or connect with Gaia. Sorry, I'm reading it backwards and with blurry camera. That grounded, centered energy. Again, going back to meditation, making sure you're feeling stable, because the more stable you are, the more open you are to your passions, to this loving energy, to the stability that this is offering you. You're more able to overcome the challenges of this week and actually of this lifetime. The more of us who are ensuring that we are grounded and centered, whether it be through breathing exercises, visualizations, meditations, essential oils, crystals, flower essence, what really speaks to you, whatever that helps bring you into that grounded, centered energy, will support you in opening yourself up to the high vibration while pushing down that low. All right, so we know this is important. Just a gentle reminder that it's going to be really important this week. I'm going to round off the cards now. So if anybody has any questions, it'd be a great time to ask them so that I can answer them before we wrap up here. What further insight and wisdom can we share with my friends for the week of July 4th through the 10th? Yep. The Seven of Swords. Now, the Seven of Swords talks about trying to get away with too much. This week is going to help you balance out what it is you think you can do with what it is you can do. The more you start to engage with your abilities, with your passions, the more understanding you're going to have with what it is you can do and what you want to work on. Our ego likes to give us that puffy, fluffy kind of, I'm thinking of like a peacock where you kind of fluff and fan yourself out. Look how grand I am. Where that may not necessarily be accurate. We need to be very truthful with ourselves. The Queen of Swords, or Queen of Wands, is very, very truthful. She knows what she excels at and what she doesn't. And she commands that energy to support her with where she needs. So we need to have that understanding of what we can do, what we want to do, and what's going to help us. Sure, we don't want to command and be kind of bossy, but we can ask. We can ask for the supports that we need from the high vibrational beings and from our physical support team. Remember, this week kicks off with that family and friends connection, that fun, whether it be physically or virtually. We have that ability to really connect in and ask for what it is we need and be open to some kind of clear understanding of where it is we are. Again, I need to start flipping cards. The Three of Pentacles. The deck, or the card I like to call the Triforce Perfecta. So you're working with self, you're working with the high vibrational beings, and you're also working with the physical support team. When you work in collaboration, you work together, that's when miracles will happen. Justice, the 11th card in the Major Arcana, and we're looking at that balance. This week is going to help balance this out. We've kind of felt off kilter. The passion, that creativity is going to start to balance out those scales. We're going to be able to use the Sword of Truth. That's going to help cut away that fluffiness that's not working. and we're going to be able to invigorate us, inspire us to that warmth and that caring for self. All right, doesn't look like there's any questions this week. So I want to thank you guys so very much for joining me today and watching this video. I hope that this video helped to clarify what you can expect from the week ahead. I know I'm a little early, but I wanted to make sure that we were able to embrace this information to help you for the week ahead, even though many of us are heading into a long weekend. Now, if you did like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. It does help me be found on the sea of YouTube, which helps to start to raise the vibration of those around you. And if you did like this video, I do have a Patreon page where I offer added supports and guidance for a little bit of support for me. So if you do enjoy this channel and want to help me out a bit, you can go down below. I do have a link below to my Patreon page, and you can go check it out. That said, next week I'm going to be live again on Wednesday with my Healing 101 session. I'm going to have my live reading for the week on Friday again, and then on the Sunday I'm going to have my angel reading. So lots of fun stuff next week. So I hope to see you then. Until tomorrow, my friends.